So, with the organization now, for example, what are you doing? Because I mean, we have how many special advisors on media? We have some social media advisors, I think, or new media is what they're called. Yes. We have a Minister of Information. You know, there's supposed to be enough channels for us to hear what the government is doing or what they plan on doing. What sort of approach are you taking with the organization, for example, to get them to talk more?
It's just really pressure, and in whatever ways, indirect, direct. I mean, that's why I was looking for a camera to be talking to whoever is looking. I mean, no, seriously, because at the very least, I don't know what is, if it's that they don't understand. I mean, as they say, when you're in government, you're sort of cocooned away from the realities. But how does it make sense that we think it is okay to still be in limited foreign exchange that we have? We're giving it to people who want to travel, people who are paying school fees, people who are importing alcohol. I mean, how are those priority things when people cannot import raw materials to manufacture things that people need? So those things alone even just show that our priorities are a bit mixed up. So really, I mean, to really answer your question, it really has to be pressure. And at multiple levels. People are writing opinion pieces, people are putting pressures on the members of the National Assembly when they are not on recess. Governors, I'm just saying. Governors are via, I mean, Governors Forum, for example, that's actually a very important one because at the Vice President's statement, he said we made $500 million, of which 200 and something order for petroleum imports. That means the amount that they actually have to share is reduced, which means they can't pay salaries. The people in their states are agitated. So even if the governors are not speaking, shouldn't the governors even be speaking? That please make this thing make sense.
I want to find out.
Do they understand?
That's a good point.
Did we bring this upon ourselves? I mean, we've talked about 2012. Should we have let it happen then? Between then and now, was this inevitable? Seeing how 2012 played out.
My personal opinion, is that fuel subsidy is something that we should have let go of a long time ago. Apart from the fact that it was such an avenue for hemorrhage. It was just unbelievable. It was an unbelievable fraud going on in there. Apart from that reason, there is so much else that we can do with the money. We spend too much subsidizing consumption. And anybody who went through any economics class that has any little sense will tell you, if you want to subsidize as a developing nation that we are with very limited resources, subsidize production. Don't subsidize consumption, because I drive from my house here, the government pays part of the cost. But a manufacturer wants to set up a new plant. I have a client, he wants to set up a new plant to produce certain raw materials that we can actually export and start to earn foreign exchange. We've been on this at least 4 or 5 months. We can't even open a firm to start talking of getting the foreign exchange to bring in the equipment. That is the kind, if you want to subsidize anything, I don't agree with subsidies, to be honest, but if you must subsidize production. Our production levels are horrible. We, like Yemi said, we're discussing it. 2014, we spent $4 billion on business and personal travel. We spent another $3 billion on school fees and medical tourism. We spent $8 billion importing animal food, vegetable oils, chicken, fish, meat, things, and all of these things. Everybody imports. There's nothing wrong with importing. You want to import water, but maximize your local capacity for production first. So there's a sequence that makes sense to do certain things.
It has to be deliberate.
It has to be deliberate plan. Look, when May we signed, this is one frustration I have, and I love China for this. China has, you can get a document where China has a 50-year plan. China has a 100-year plan. In April and May as a country, we're still debating a 1-year budget. You cannot build a nation on a 1-year rolling basis. You must be able to say, look, some things will go, we're going to do X, Y, Z, it's going to take us 20 years. You put a plan, and every year you monitor that plan. But you cannot, it is impossible to build a nation on a 1-year rolling budget that you sign in May. It's impossible. So when you look at this is what I call body language. When you look at the body language of the government with the long-term sustainability of the nation, they are not compatible for existence. They just are not. And that's my opinion.
Are you seeing the effects already with pricing of things generally in the market?
I mean, they've slowly been increasing over the last...
Even before?
Slowly.
Yeah,
even before?
No, what I mean is that it's not with this increase, it didn't just go through the roof.
Look at tomatoes. Last week, tomatoes
Tomatoes
was
have been
30,000. Last time I heard about tomatoes, a basket was 12,000 a couple of months ago. I spoke to somebody, says no, it's now 30,000. And I ran to my wife. It's 30,000. She laughed. No, yesterday it was 45.
Oh, okay. There you
And
go.
I just, at that point, you know where you just, all right, this is not my forte. I'm not a special.
There you go.
Are we in trouble?
I
Would
think,
you
well, let me just do
Both
that.
of you are going to answer that. Do you think we're in trouble? I mean, where we are now.
No, qualified
there's
trouble.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay, what do you
Is
mean
it
by
going to get
that?
worse? Maybe that's what I'm asking.
In what? What would get worse? What do you mean?
The economy, people's pockets.
I think if the government continues on this track of no communication, doing things by the seat of their pants as the spirit leads them, or I don't know what spirits, but I'm just saying, but really just no clear plan or no clear agenda, then I think it will get worse. I mean, people always say it always gets worse before it gets better. But the
We've been hearing
pain,
that for a while.
not only that, the pain is also, some things are not necessary, which is why when people say, to the point he was making about Venezuela, you learn. And that's why older people say, learn from my experience so you don't make the same mistakes. And I think we're just not doing that. We're just sort of cobbling things. I mean, the Kachiko example that he gave was a perfect one. You stood on TV and said, this is what you've done to plug the holes. 1 week later, you suddenly done a U-turn and say, okay, go and find your foreign exchange wherever. Where did that come from? What caused that? Why would the deal with the IOC suddenly fallen apart?
If it has fallen apart.
If it has, exactly. So I think that really is an issue. But I wanted to make a point about your question to Zeal around should we not have done let it go?
2012.
I think 2012 was important in terms of citizen engagement, and I think for those who participated, they shouldn't have any regrets, because if the focus really was on we want to remove this because other areas of government are inefficient or inefficient, I guess is the word, then citizens are saying no, deal with that inefficiency, then come back to us and say we've done this, this, and this, and this. Now we want you to be a part of that process. Now the flips, and not only that. For the first time, I think, for this generation, people started paying attention to budgets, to governance. To detail around how does government actually work? How does government spend money?
How many people did you travel with? You know?
Exactly, those kind of things. And if you then sort of parallel, even in the 4 years, the level of attention we pay to this 2016 budget, what is in the budget, who has it, where it is. I mean, on Twitter yesterday, the conversation was on we don't want high-level stuff. We want to see the details. Where are the details of this 2016 budget? And I think for a democracy, I think that's really critical. Where you get to a point where citizens are interested in governance issues, are interested in accountability, interested in where their money is going and what the trade-offs are. Where are we spending money to save? Where are we, in a sense, subsidizing in other areas? And I think that's extremely important.
Very quickly, realistically, very quickly, what's going to happen for the rest of the year? What do you see happening?
I think I have always expected things to get worse before they get better.
Is this the worst?
I don't think this is the worst, given how they've handled things up till now. What I was hoping, what I was hoping was that there will be clear communication that things will get worse. We would see inflation rise, we would see prices go up, we would see scarcity of FX, but all that will happen because we are putting A, B, C, D in place. In 3 months you will see this, in 6 months you will see that, and then it gives us citizens hope.
And you can plan.
And you can plan, and you know, okay, you know what, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I can't do any of this because this is what will happen. But you see, as it is, it seems very haphazard. If there is a plan, they have not communicated that plan. And so how long will this go on for? I don't know.
Yes or no answers, because we have to go now. Okay. With the NLC, if they decide to go on strike, will it make things better or worse? Yes or no?
I think worse.
So it will make things worse?
I think it will make things worse, yeah.
I think it will make things worse based on the communication I don't have.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for joining us today.
Thank you.
On what has been a very grim segment of Rubbin Minds today. Thanks, Yemi. Thanks, Ezio, for being here today. When we come back, we'll try and lighten things up a little bit. Please stay with us.